Before I go into introducing myself, I just want to say that basically what we're going to do today is talk about Product Hunt and how to successfully launch and rank in the top three. I think I should have actually called this short deck how demystifying launching on Product Hunt. I think it always gets like too much of a myth of how hard it is and how many magic tricks you have to do to rank. So hopefully by the end of this call, you will all kind of know how to do it and understand like the needs and bits of how it's done. So if we still haven't met in person, so I'm director of growth at Wilco. In the past, I was head of growth at Anydo. I'm the founder of a growth agency called Stardom.io. Work with Taboola, Eat with Cloud Endure, Simply, and many more cool companies in the past. I'm a co-founder of a growth community called Growth Impact. You can find us on Facebook. It's basically a closed community of people who are doing hands-on growth at different companies. We have some amazing companies from Hetz there, of course. We have companies like Honeybook and Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, and some like amazing professionals who are doing the day-to-day growth work. So if anybody wants to join, of course, you're welcome to. I'm the host of a podcast called Strike Gold, which is a marketing podcast. We are about to hopefully start recording our third season soon. It's basically a podcast where in each episode, we invite a top-performing marketer from an interesting company to talk about how they're doing growth or marketing efforts. And it's a personal podcast called Shunim Kvoyim, which is in Hebrew. If you want to listen to me jab about random things, 3 hours with interesting guests, then that's a good link for you. I want to kick off by doing like a Product Hunt 101, or like the 80% that makes the 20% understanding Product Hunt. So I want to start by answering some of the most popular questions I get about launching a product on Product Hunt. So first of all, the popular question, am I product fit for Product Hunt? Meaning, is my product good for Product Hunt? Is my category interesting for Product Hunt? My real answer for this is that unless you're doing kind of a product to, unless you're selling to governments or really, really, really big enterprises, and even then it might be interesting for you to do it. I think Product Hunt is a good place to launch. Of course, popularity will change based on your category, based on like how targeted your audience is, how narrow or niche it is. But I can give you an example that when we launched Wilco, the Quest Builder, right? The Quest Builder is for people who are interested in Wilco and building quests for Wilco for their own different reasons. That's a very niche audience, and we were still able to be top 3 a very, very competitive day, and generate some leads from it. So I think that most products should launch on Product Hunt, especially SaaS companies. Now, why should you do it, or what are the benefits or outcomes of launching on Product Hunt? So number one, of course, most of the time you can generate quite a few leads and also get some really good leads out of it. It's a great PR opportunity. Well, it's not exactly PR, but awareness. It's something you can parade around, to your community, in your social networks, to your network, to your partners. And because most entrepreneurs and most people who are like into early stage companies or early adopters or a part of the tech scene, people kind of know what Product Hunt is, and you're more willing to receive kind of like your text messages about it and to support you. So it's a great way to kind of engage with the network that you might have. It's a great way to announce something to the world, right? When you do like a PR launch, you have like your TechCrunch article, or you have whatever publication is covering your launch, and you put it in your social, but you can't, usually most normal people don't actually go around and send it to 100 people in direct text. Product Hunt, on the other hand, is a bit more legit to do it because you're asking for help. So it's like a reason to talk to a lot of people. So there's that, there's leads. There are journalists who look at Product Hunt for stories. and they familiarize or they take notice of like a first place, second place, third place kind of thing. It gives you reach within the product and community. So I'm guessing leads and awareness are like the main goals you can attach to it. So how many leads you should expect? That's also a popular question that I get asked. Again, depends on your niche, depends on the category, B2B versus B2C, trendy topic versus not trendy topic. But I've seen companies generate tons of leads. Like there can be thousands of leads for a product, for a B2C product, for example, or for a B2B product that is, let's say, with a wide range of target audiences, right? Some of the B2B products these days are more tightly close to B2C. Are there any preferred days of launching? When should I launch? I would usually say Tuesday or Wednesday, because people's attention, of course, is like the end of the week. Saturday, obviously not in Sundays. But I can also say that, like, if we look at what really matters, then it doesn't matter that much. It's very hard if you try and plan your launch around happenings and what's going on. So, you never know if you're launching something and then on the same day, suddenly Amazon or Google launch a new product. Then you have to fight like a new Amazon Alexa or whatever. I can share from a personal painful story is that when we launched the Quest Builder, it happened to be the same day where on different product sessions 2.0 was launched. If you're not familiar with sessions, I wasn't familiar with sessions. The product was actually on Product Hunt the year before. So they already had like a lot of traction and followers on Product Hunt. They also enjoyed a legacy feature, which basically notifies and send emails to everybody who followed or upvoted you in the past. So think that there's a company that you're competing with that on minute one of their launch can actually hit like over 1,000 or 2,000 people who've already showed interest in the product in the platform, right? So that's kind of a shitty situation to be at when you're launching a product against that. So you can try and choose a good day, but you never know. Launching on Product Hunt, while it's one person who's usually in charge of the process, success on Product Hunt is very much about the community and your network, and the more people you know that are willing to help support your product. So the bigger your team is, the more people are involved, the more people are sending text message, leveraging their networks, the better chances you have of winning, right? So get your entire team in there, make a day out of it. It is a competition, you're trying to win it. But I think also that can be kind of a fun day in the company. If you take the right approach to it, you do like your fun war room, you can get some snacks, you can get, drinks. I can warn you that every launch we've had with Wilco and with other companies that I think I've launched over 12 or 15 products in the past and consulted like around 50 companies on their launches. I think almost every launch that I had was like a 20-hour road trip, a roller coaster. Which was, you keep working at it, you keep trying to improve your rankings. So bringing your entire team into it and making like a day out of it can really relieve the stress easier. And least is like what the goals or success metrics for Product Hunt. Goals and metrics are usually like around either leads or awareness. Of course, if you rank number one, like product of the day or product of the week, it can be product of the month, and you can be, later on be nominated. So if you get to those rankings, then Product Hunt will showcase your product on their social, on their network, on their newsletter, and they'll promote you, right? So ranking is a good goal. Leads and traffic to your website is a good goal. And brand awareness or awareness to your product is a good goal. Product Hunt, if you're here, you probably know the platform, know what it is. But in general, basically, it's a platform where people launch or announce a new SaaS products. Mostly SaaS products, can also be ebooks and some other materials, but mostly SaaS products. And the community can rank them and support them by upvoting, commenting, and other things. It's like a daily competition. It restarts every 24 hours. And your goal is basically to be number one or in the top before. In Product Hunt, you have a product page, which is the page that you're launching. Every company, if you launch more than one product, you have like a company page which runs up all your launches and news. It's created automatically. Your hunter, which we'll talk about in a second, is the person who creates the product page for you. We're going to dive deeper into the product page and the hunter soon. The hunter is a member of the product and community who has privileges to post to the front page of Product Hunt. In Israel, Ben Lang is a very popular hunter. I can later on, I will send Liz with the recording. There's a link that you can use, which has like top 50 hunters for 2023. You can approach each one of them. We'll talk about the hunters more in a second. There's the maker. The maker is basically like the product owner, the person who created the product. Usually, you can add several makers. Most companies will include like the CEO, product, and somebody from marketing. It can vary, of course. The community is the product and community, people who know and engage with the platform. Ranking, as I said before, this is basically a competition. The more votes, comments you have, your ranking goes up. Upvoting is basically the function that most people are focused on, how to get the biggest number of upvotes. And comments, you can comment on every product. There's a comment section, which is actually very crucial, and we'll talk about that soon. So these are like the elements you need to know to really start prepping your Product Hunt launch. So let's talk about the prep, which is basically everything you need to get ready in advance before your launch. So there's three types of people on Product Hunt for you. There's the hunter, the makers, and the supporters or the community. So the hunter is basically the person who can take your product and post it to Product Hunt. The way you work with a hunter usually is that you pitch it to a hunter on a person, like on a direct message, email, wherever you can find their contacts. And you basically you need to ask them, hey, I want to launch my product on Product Hunt on this and this week, day, whatever. And they basically say if they want to and can. And if they do, they set you up with a blank page that you can edit. And they set up an automatic publish for the day of the launch, usually to 12:01 at night in the US, 10 o'clock here in Israel. What should you be aware of when you choose your hunter? Number one, that it's a hunter that has like a front page privileges. So all the followers of that hunter will get a notification once the product he hunted goes live. So you might also want to kind of see if you can find a hunter who has a lot of followers, because it means that it will increase your reach once your product is live. Their job is, again, to post you to the front page. They're the one who scheduled the launch, and they will send you a page URL, and then that's when you start to edit your page. Then we have the makers, as I mentioned before. The makers are the owners of the product. For me, the best practice would be to have 2 to 4 makers. Why 2 to 4 makers? So a maker basically is a person who identifies, you can see the M here, is identified with the product. So you want to have enough so you can, comment and respond and show your presence there. On the other hand, if you have 8 people in your team, 15 people in your team, you don't want to show them all as makers, because then the algorithm will understand that if they are upvoting or commenting, right, they kind of know how to calculate it in. So a support from a community member is worth more than a maker supporting their own product. So you want to have a balance so you can keep like a big part of your team count more community supporter, not just a maker. And have the supporters, which is community members who have upvoted or commented on your product. This is just like a fun screenshot, I think, from our last launch. So we have like some really good friends like Yoav and Danny from Walnut, Jan Regeb, Tommy from Super Tools, our very own Natasha, of course, Gilad, Joel Omer, like a lot of good friends and people from our community. Now let's talk about the product page, right? So basically, this is our launch page. When we first launched Wilco 8 months ago. So this is basically the anatomy of the page. You have a logo at the top. company name, tagline, place for your description, and some product images you can use. And of course, a link to add where it says visit. Now, just to give some optimization ideas, to be honest, I don't think these are like I'll tell you what is like a deal breaker and what isn't. So logo, you want to have an eye-catching logo because most people will discover the product, from kind of skimming through the front page, and you want to grab their attention. In the screenshot that I have here, you can see the Wilco logo, but in the original GIF, it was like moving around, so it kind of grabbed more attention. I think that's a good hack. I think it's a good tactic. It's not a deal breaker, right? Like I wouldn't postpone my launch because we didn't have a really cool GIF to put in the logo. But it is a really great touch, makes your product more noticeable. Then you have company name, which you already know what it is. If you're launching a specific product, Wilco, we have Wilco Quest Builder. Walnut have just like released Walnut and Walnut Ace. They have different products there. Then you can use a tagline. You have 60 character limits. So the tagline has to be really catchy and really descriptive of your product. Don't try to be sassy or funny or weird. This is like really the first thing a user will see before even clicking on your product. So make sure that it's interesting and relevant to your target audience. It's very important that you don't try to be, so creative that nobody understands immediately what you do and if it benefits them. So it needs to be relevant, recognizable to your target audience, but also raise some curiosity. Then you have the description. The description is 240 character limit. Again, a basic description of what your product does. Be specific, be descriptive. Make sure your kind of target audience can understand if it's for them or not from your text, and the people understand what you do. Then the last asset you can create are the product images. So I think you have like between 5 to 7 images, maybe more in the carousel. I wouldn't do more because I don't think people will scroll through more. You can either use images or video. If you're going with images, so it really depends on your product. So for Wilco, we have a really cool brand and we have some really distinct pages on our platform, but also a lot of our platform really happens like in the IDE and using products that are not internal for Wilco, so they're not unique to Wilco. And we're very text related in some of the parts of the platform. So the strategy that I take usually with products that the images are not like self-explanatory when you scan them is that I would just like add text and explainers. As you can see, as I go on Quest, get new skills, your tech stack, your choice. So like we are using like positioning and feature messages to really help the user understand really fast what it's about. So just literally put the text up front. If you have a very visual product, right, and you have a good description, then I would actually use the product as is, like of course, kind of create dedicated screens for it. But I would put that in the front. Now, regarding videos, should you do launch video or not? Honestly, I feel like for most products, it's not a deal breaker. Most products don't really benefit that much from having that video. It's something people actually have to click to see. So I don't know how many people actually do that. Unless watching your video, your product work or like a live demo or like a short clip is really gives you insight into what's cool or the aha moment or the cool factor in your product. I'm not sure that I would spend too much time on creating a video unless it like really brings extra value. The reason I wouldn't create a video, of course, is that it takes a lot of resources, takes a lot of money, takes a lot of time. I'm not sure I would optimize for that. So this is your product page. The next thing you need to understand about your product page is ranking. You need to understand that before going in. So there's 3 things or elements that affect your ranking: comments, upvotes, and reviews. Upvotes is well-known product hunt. Everybody's at for an upvote. Reviews not as popular because reviews usually come up, as people use the product. So most people don't put that much emphasis on reviews. But product hunt actually does look into it and give it a kind of a heavy weight. having like real people reviewing the product. And then you have comments, which also like eventually Product Hunt, well, a lot of the marketers or founders look at it as a hack to get more leads. Product Hunt is very much about the community, and products who are able to foster a good, interesting discussion will get rewarded in terms of ranking, right? So, for example, I've seen products who have less upvotes but more conversation around them rank higher than products with more upvotes. But the conversation has to be relevant and interesting. Don't count on just like, oh, amazing product, that's great, to help you rank. Another thing you need to take into consideration with ranking is that Product Hunt also is aware of trends and velocity. So if, for example, you start your day and with whatever random hack you've done, you have 10,000 upvotes and a gazillion comments, right, within like 5 minutes. If it doesn't last throughout the day, meaning you don't keep that pace throughout the day, Product Hunt will either punish you because they will understand that you've done a hack to get your traction, or that it will just like slowly, you'll decline because they'll notice that there's no action in your page anymore. You're not as interesting anymore. Your velocity is going down, so they slowly kind of lower your rank as you go. Some classic questions that I've got around comments and asking, etc., is number one, can I send a direct link? Like meaning when you share your product with other people in your network or social, can you send a direct link? There's always myths around it that saying that they recognize it's a direct link and then they punish you. Hacker News actually does that, I think. It's not the same with Product Hunt. You can share direct link. There's still like some best practice around saying like support us and not upvote us and stuff like that. I'm not sure Product Hunt is seeing that or tracking that. I would actually guess that they don't. Another popular question is, should new accounts vote? So Product Hunt does give different weight for new account, older, like more active and older accounts. And so there's two things you need to know about this. One, yes, if most of your votes come from new users, they still might not rank as high, even if you have higher number of upvotes, because they do weigh more into existing and active community members. But what you should be aware of, and which is again not that crucial, it's fine. Like, don't be afraid to ask your friends, family, co-workers to open a Product Hunt account and upvote. It's not going to affect that much. On the other hand, if you're bringing a mass amount, and if your next question is what is considered a mass, then I think that your gut feeling tells you what is a mass. A mass is bots. A mass is like thousands of new accounts, everything that would look suspicious, right? Like 30 or 40 people out of your 1,000 upvotes doesn't look suspicious. 500, yes. So you can ask new accounts that are relevant or valid to upvote you. You shouldn't shy away from it. Just don't kind of misuse it or abuse new accounts for upvotes. The next thing you want to prep in advance is the first comment. So the first comment is basically usually like the maker, CEO or chief product officer, kind of welcoming people into the page. So this is kind of where you introduce your product and you tell a little bit about it. What's important in the first comment, number one, of course, is to be friendly and conversational. Ignite conversation, right? Don't just say we're amazing, but like actually try and provoke a conversation, people asking questions. So you want to explain about your product, but you also want to keep some space for questions. Like if you say too much about your product and you leave people without any questions, it's going to hurt people commenting, right, on your page. So leave some room for questions and for some unknowns. Make sure that it conveys value. It explains what you do. People can understand who you are, who you're targeting from it. Highlight use cases. So if if your product is great for A or great for B, mention it in a few words, right? If you have a target audience that you're trying to tackle, which you should, of course, then I would recommend you mentioning it somehow, right? So like if you're a developer that wants ABC, or I don't know, if you're a salesperson who's trying to get your customers to do this and that, I would kind of mention that. And I think also like adding your company's mission is great. A lot of people kind of, they skim through the page and, they upvote and they see so many products. And I think a mission statement or why you're doing what you're doing is a great way to kind of move them in terms of being more emotional, making you more interesting to them to follow or to kind of take a look at what you do. I've added here 2 examples. One is our very own in his first comment. So as you can see, it's very descriptive. It's very friendly. On the other hand, there's Savian, who's the founder of Sessions 2.0, and he's like more marketing into it, but it's also like very emoji language. It's very to the point. He's building rapport because like they were already big on Product Hunt and they showcase it. And it's like kind of a follow-up. And he knows that a lot of the people who will come to that page will be a follow-up from the previous launch. So you can also see that reflects. I just really love the way like they kind of formatted it. It looks very spacey. It's easy to read. I love the usage of emoji. So that's also like a good example. Once you get the URL from your hunter, when you set up the page, the images, the visuals, the tagline, description, etc. Right? This is also when you post your first comment before you even launch. It doesn't matter. I would usually still do it like a day before, right? Just because it has the dates, so it doesn't look as if you've posted it like 5 days ago, and it wouldn't be like a comment seems irrelevant because it's too, it was posted too long ago. I would post it like a day before, but I would post it before the product actually launches, like a few hours before. Of course, prep your social materials. So for social, I usually recommend do 2 to 3 posts for a few reasons. One, the 3 posts would usually be like, hey, we're live, support us. As you can see from the example here, I would sometimes, if you have good traction on social media, I would add like a midday kind of behind the scenes photo. Again, prepping people to talk about Product Hunt, that to upvote you and support. And of course, then at the end of the day, I would do like thanks for your love and support. I would actually, if you're in top 3, I would maybe show the ranking, right? We were actually, I think, on the second launch, I think we were 3rd. We had like a very hard. Was a very competitive day. But we didn't add the ranking here. But you can also add your ranking so people kind of, just to thank everybody who supported you. That social prep. After you have all that ready and scheduled, you are ready to launch. So you have all your prep ready. Materials are there. Your page is ready. Your first comment is there. Now it's time to launch. So this is how your day would probably look like. This is basically all the action items that you have for the launch. So on the top of the page, your product is just launched. You're starting your day. You want to get 5 to 7 comments in the first hour of your product launch. In a few minutes, I'll say more about it. Now, if you're based in Israel or your company is based in Israel, then you have a leverage, right? Because the day starts early, the voting day starts earlier for us. Because when your product launches at 12 there, it actually launches at 10 at 8. Sorry, here. I think it's 8 or 10. I'm sorry, I'm having a blackout around it. So you have more hours to kind of work your Israeli network. So once, so you can gain traction before the US audience wakes up. So when they wake up and they go and see the page, you will already have like upvotes and comments, and you're popular and your product will seem popular. So number 1, it would rank higher. So, if you are in one of the top positions when they wake up in the US, they will notice you more because you are in top position, so just by your placement. You'll be more noticeable because you'll have more traction than other products. So, more traction usually means you're more interesting. You get more attention. So you have a few good hours to work your Israeli network, people communities you're a part of. So you start by doing that. Then only then, after having the first kind of, let's say, momentum building, I would start going to social media, which is I'll schedule, we've launched the midday update and the thank you post that we've talked about before. Then I would start direct text to your network. It's kind of spammy, but as I said before, Product Hunt is basically the only day when people let you spam them and they're nice to you. So direct text really works best to really move your network. What I would usually do is that I would say, hey, name, sorry to bother you with this, but we've just launched our product with Product Hunt. We've been working on this for the past X months. I would love to have your support if you want to upvote or add any comment. Now, comments way more than upvotes. Remember that. So if somebody is if you're in good relations with that person, or they comment or they text you back saying, sure, of course, whatever you need, right? What I would always have is a repository of questions, of comments that they can add. And I'll if they'll answer me, right? So sure, no problem. I'll say, hey, it would be amazing if you can also post this comment. Here's the comment. If you can just post it, and that's it. So it's I don't want them to think about what they need to comment. I don't want them to spend any time on creating a good comment, because that's friction. And I want them to easily post their comment. So I'll have it and I'll increase my ranking. You want to comment on every comment that you get. I would recommend every person in your team that is a maker to comment on every comment that you get. Somebody said, oh, that's an amazing product. Everybody should say, thank you so much. Thank you so much. What did you like about it? It's great to see you here. Try to make it really conversational. But comment on everything. So all the makers should comment on basically everything. You respond to every comment there. Then go to your WhatsApp groups, newsletters, and professional forums. Basically, again, hey, we've launched. Sorry to bother you guys. We just launched on Product Hunt. Need all the love and support you can get. Feel free to please upvote. Feel free to leave a comment. Here are a few variations of comments you can use, right? If you're doing this in a Facebook group or something that is public, I might not recommend what comment they can add. But if you have a WhatsApp group with your peers or professional forums that you trust, you can do that. Send an email to your newsletter. So in Israel, we have Gilad Uzieli, who has a Product Hunt newsletter. I will send Liz the link to it, so she can share it around. It's basically a newsletter for Product Hunt, for startup founders who are posting on Product Hunt. And the idea is that every time a new product from that community gets published, then he sends an email with the details, and everybody can support them. That can easily give you a big big boost in upvotes. So when I'm working with the international communities, what I would do is that I would post on 2 and 3 times at the same day. Why? Because different countries wake up at different times. They check out their text and forums and emails at different times of the day. So I would kind of mention 2 and 3 times. It would usually bring another round of upvotes and comments. So just kind of spread it around the day. What I started doing on the last launch is basically having people that I trust and text them, hey, we've done this and this and this. What else would you do? Now, most of the time you get the same ideas and things you've done in the past already. But what would usually happen is that they will either mention, oh, I have this 1 or 2, 3 groups that I know, I can post it there for you, right? And they will help you with some more communities that they have. They'll be more eager to help because they think they're coming in to help you in a hard time. versus just like a random support. And sometimes they'll just have like another good idea, maybe, or they'll just share it again, or just give them more motivation to share it with their peers. So this is not obligatory, right? But you'll drink alcohol earlier than you normally would. It's a very stressful day, so that might come in. Then you start working at around 2 Israel time. You start working on your international network. Again, I would circle back to the 3 times at the same day for my international network. This is, again, direct text messages to people you know, colleagues from the past, who's ever relevant. There's some product and dedicated communities on Facebook, Telegram, and WhatsApp. I'll send them to Liz so she can share it around as well. It's basically, it's communities where people go and ask for upvotes and comments. Some of them are really great. Some of them are very dormant. I think a lot of the time, these communities are mostly helpful emotionally when there's like a downtime and you feel like you have to do something in order to keep momentum and you don't know what to do anymore. So a lot of the times that's where these communities come handy. They don't usually bring a lot of upvotes and comments. Some of them do. Most of them are very dormant because unless the community is really well managed, then basically what happens is people come in, they spam with their product on launch, and they never come back. Some of them are more well managed, and you can actually get some like a decent amount of upvotes and comments from there. Whoever you talk to, you keep asking them for comments. At some point, you start direct texting to people you haven't seen in the last 5 years endlessly. It's awkward, but you'll find yourself doing that, and that's okay, right? That's how your day looks like. And then there's some hacks you can do, which I'll get into later. So earlier, I mentioned the first 5-6 commenters. So what I usually do is that I text my friends, again, relevant friends, a day before the launch, saying, "Hey, I'm going to launch tomorrow in the morning. I need you to be one of the first 5-6 commenters. Here's the comment that I would appreciate if you post." Now, I choose the people based on the fact that they have an active account, not new accounts. That's number one. Number two, I will give them comments that can incite a conversation about my product, or will actually target a key topic that I want to address. So it can be pricing, it could be a feature that you wanted to talk about, but you don't want to put it in the comment, in your first comment or the description. It could highlight a target audience. It can highlight a use case. It could highlight, how to onboard. It could highlight who your competitors are, right? So you can ask people, say, "Hey, is this product more like this one, or is it more like this one? Oh, that's a nice solution. I know your competitors are pretty pricey. How much are you going to price it? Or how are you monetizing this? Can we do this and this in the product? Is this good for junior developers, senior developers, etc.?" So be strategic about your first 5-6 comments, because they will lead the conversation going forward. So of course, you give it to people you trust. They will comment. And then usually again, the main maker, CEO or product or chief product officer, whoever you decided it should be, will go in and give an in-depth answer. Give in-depth answers. The more you can give real good answers, the bigger and better debate you will have and discussions, and you want to encourage it. Don't try to answer people or reply just to kind of, shut down the conversation, or just have a check mark saying, "Oh, I answered everything." If you can evoke a discussion, do it. If you are in the middle of a discussion around your product that might be interesting to somebody in your team, share with them for visibility and let them reply to it as well. If you have a community that is relevant for it, share the discussion so they can also add their comments and make your discussion more vivid. And again, more comments equals higher ranking. So to finish, I want to share some of the hacks that have been working well for me. So we've been using, I have like an agency, like a guy who's helping me around with comments and upvotes sometimes. It's just like to widen the network a bit. So another thing that I've done in the past is a community barter. So basically I would go to communities that can have high traction, but let's say, low incentive to actually help me out. And what I would do is that I would offer something in return. So for me, I've been doing growth and content for like 12 years. I work with a lot of tech companies in Israel, and I've done a lot of workshops in the past. So I will go to several communities that are big and say, hey, if we get 50 comments from this community, I will do a 1-hour webinar about how to build your content strategy. I will share my best tips for getting guest blogs on top publications. I will share with you how to build retention loops to your SaaS product and how to strategize your retention, right? So basically barter with them something that I can do for them. I will only do it, of course, when there's like a large amount of people in the group, not for 5 people. Again, just like, think about the ROI. The hack that I've tried in the last 2 launches or last launch that we've done is that I was very pleased with is the I'll scratch your back, you'll scratch mine. So what I basically did is that I went to a bunch of WhatsApp communities of colleagues, marketers, growth people from B2C companies. And I basically went into several forums and asked, hey, who's launching, who's launching in the next 6 months? And every person who said yes, I DM them and say, hey, we are an X amount of people company. If you get X amount of people in your company upvoting and commenting for us in the next hour, when you launch, I promise you I'll get my entire team to comment on your launch. Again, you can also secure this in advance, right? So by doing this, I think I got like 60 or 70 comments in an hour on the last launch. The last 2 hacks are, I don't know if they're hacks as much as they're just like the best tip that I can give you in general to have a successful launch. Be nice to people all year long. So when you need them to help you with your launch, they'll be supportive. And build your community in advance, right? I think this is where second-time founders or people who've been into texting for a long time has a big advantage, because you've met more people, you know more people, you know your history, your network is better, you're part of more communities, you have more followers maybe, right? So that's where you kind of leverage your advantage. But build your community in advance for your product before you launch, from colleagues, from people around you. Think about it in advance.
There's you mentioned you have someone that actually helped you, some kind of freelance or something like that, someone who is connected to more communities. So I got approached from several guys like this. Would you recommend?
The service type, I'm fine with it. Eventually the problem that you want to validate that they're good at what they do, right? Like I don't have a problem with the angle. I just have to verify that you have a good provider. You know what I mean? The same problem you will have, by the way, when you use an SEO agency, marketing agency, etc. Only that here you have like a really limited one-time shot to see if they're good or not. I would ask for recommendations. I would ask them who did they work with in the past. It's funny because Product Hunt, again, is like been very mystified for a long time, like being this, how do you rank number 1? I actually wrote a post about it like 4 or 5 years ago. It still ranks on the front page of Google, like the first page. And it hasn't changed much. Eventually, if I have to narrow this down, right, it's about creating value and leveraging your network. And then everything else is nuance, good comments, upvotes, etc. The bigger network you have, the more likely you are to win.
I know with like G2 reviews, then we used to offer people like reward, basically money, like gift cards and stuff if they rank us. Is that something that we can do also in Product Hunt?
I think it's very frowned upon. Like if somebody discovers that, that's kind of the things that they'll penalize you. I want to say something about that being punished, because it happens, and I'll say one more thing about that. But also, like, you really, like, for us in our last 2 launches with Wilco, we needed more than 1,000 upvotes and like some hundreds of comments, right? So and money wise, I don't think it's going to be a good investment. G2, right? It's something that lasts over time. We generate leads, over time. It's something you can use on your website. It means something. It's very important in the sales cycle, right? When somebody is reviewing your website, your product, considering to buying your product, G2 like has a lot of impact there. So it kind of makes sense to put more money on it. One of the things, and it's hard to explain. It's really like an emotional roller coaster. For when you launch the 24 hours of Product Hunt becomes your life. You are engaged in it. You are, it's what you do. It consumes you. It's like hard to explain before somebody's done it. It really consumes you. You finish that day tired and drained. And 1 minute after the 24 hours pass, the website refreshes and you have a new list and you are no longer in the competition. And there's like a sad emptiness inside there for a second. But you go back into the realization, that this is like a very specific time-based effort. And it can give like a boost, but it's not something that lingers on as part of the exploration or consideration of your sales cycle. So your budget should also be accordingly, right? This is like a good boost. This is not your silver bullet to success. It's not like if you are ranking number 1, your product will, be successful in the market. You're gonna IPO or exit within an hour, right? It's like a part of your campaign. So be mindful with that, with the budget. What I wanted to say about being penalized. So what sometimes you will see that there are companies who are trying to hack comments and upvotes with bots. And you will usually see it because of two things. One, an unproportional amount of, comments without any faces on them. Or, an increasingly crazy amount of upvotes coming out of nowhere. So you can spot it sometimes in your competitors. I think that when we launched, we actually had one of the competitors went into our page. They wrote some bad reviews, so we'll get downranked, and they've leveraged a lot of bots. And I just texted. I have a friend who used to be the community manager there, but you can also do it through support. And I basically texted them saying, "Hey, they're fishy. Please take a look into it." And they get penalized, and they went from being number 1 to like number 7, and they really cracked up on their bots and their automations, and it was taken from them. So if you spot anybody being really fishy around you, feel free to let the product community managers or support know.
Is it something that we need to invest time in to actually look at competitors, see if nothing is fishy or something like that?
Well, yes, but first of all, if you're number 1, you don't care, right? If you're number 2 by a close, then again, it probably is nothing too suspicious there. If you notice something, if you're number 2 or 3, and it's almost like second half of the day, I would take a look into it just in case, right? If you can prevent it, then do it. If somebody's opening a really crazy gap, then it will be suspicious and you can take a look into it. It's not it's not something that happens all the time and you have to be keep refreshing their page to see if they're doing anything wrong or not. Look for abnormality. If you're number 1, who cares what happens with number 2 and 3? And if you see something weird, or if it's almost the end of the day, take a look. You don't care, right? Just take a look, and worst case, you're right. Any other questions, concerns? Favorite beverage when launching a product? No,
how much do you drink at the end of the day?
At the end of it, the hard question is how much do you drink throughout the day? No, I'm kidding. No, but it's really almost laughingly how exhausting it is emotionally, and you don't understand it, but it just is. And every person that I think every company that I've consulted with and helped them with their product launch, they always kind of text me at the end of the day or call me up and saying why am I so tired? What happened today? I'm so exhausted. Anyway, but it's worth it if you rank number 1. And to be honest, the best thing to do with it is kind of encourage your company to celebrate with you the entire process. That's like a good company culture and story to have.